Very good.
Excellent.
So, Mr. Mesh,
Mr. Ellis.
good morning.
Good morning.
So, market recap for 2023,
Yes.
going into 2024. We all know what happened, right? In 2023, like it was a tough year for most, right?
I think for everybody.
Right, like for most, and we've gone some through up and downs, right? Like I would say in any field, whether it's real estate, whether it's sales, or here and there,
I think
it is what it is.
Service, the list goes on and on and on. You know?
Sure.
Before we talk about that,
Okay.
I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about where we are. Like, take a look around.
Go.
Take a look around.
This is stunning. This is beautiful. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, this is nice.
We are at the lobby. Sorry, not lobby. We're in the library bar.
Library. Yeah, it's a library bar.
Inside the beautiful Fairmont Royal York.
Yeah.
The most iconic hotel in all of Toronto.
Definitely you should visit, for sure.
And just so you know, we didn't stay out partying all night. This is not the after hours. We came in here early, and we were fortunate enough to be able to come in here and showcase this environment. So what a great way to kick off the new year, not just with a recap, but with positivity, excitement, and guess what? Kind of live a little. Right?
I know. It
Live
like
a little.
listen. It feels good being in an ambience like this, and obviously the Fairmont Royal York in downtown Toronto is definitely. It feels like a castle. Like it feels different.
You know what?
Here.
You can feel the heritage, and you can also feel the prestige, and there's just something about it. Typically, like when I've gone away, my family likes the modern architecture and all that, which is great. But when you go to some of these older places, you cannot replace the character, like the stories this place must have.
100%.
You know what I mean?
So same thing. Like you know what I mean? Like just being in this environment, like you feel like in 2023 or 2024, like that we are on right now. Like it's still busy, it's still happening, which means quality will always remain, right? Like it will always be filled up. You know what I mean?
100%. There's something that has to be said for quality, namesake, pedigree. All these things make a difference in any industry. I mean, that's 100%. Why you look at names. Not to throw names out there, but we've all heard of brands, whether we agree with them or not, that have been around for hundreds, if not more than that years.
Sure.
And they continue to be around because the quality is just that good, And
it goes to show you, like even those companies and the big brand names, if you look a little bit into it, they went through challenging times.
Everybody has.
As we are as well. Like,
absolutely.
So everyone is going through challenging times. It's just like finding the right momentum and finding the right information to plug in properly and just stay in the game, right?
So that's a great segue, right? That's a great segue, as he always does. He knows exactly where to take the conversation. So I think we started off with saying, hey, let's bring a market recap, which we started touching on.
Sure.
And more importantly, what does the forecast for 2024 look like?
Yes.
I think not just in life, in finances, but I think personality-wise and health-wise. I think these are a complete thing that we have to look at holistically. Right?
100%. I mean, like if the chip doesn't work properly, right? Like your brain, like everything else, like your body, so I think all of these things have to be matched.
Yeah.
And they have to work accordingly to your environment, right?
Yeah.
So I think in 2024, a lot of good things will happen.
Yes.
Right? And one of the big problems that a lot of people will still hold on to is fear.
Yes.
From the past, from 2022, 2023, or whatever, right?
There's a famous saying that, I've adopted a little bit more as I've matured and started following some, not just traders, but other people just out of curiosity. And, the line is zoom out. And people say, well, what does that mean? It's like, we're all used to like thinking about our lives and how things are going in the moment and whatever that looks like, and it's right for you in that moment. But understand that if we have the ability to zoom out and look at these trends over a longer period, you'll realize that there's nothing new that's happening. As crazy as it sounds, it may be new to you, But these patterns have happened over and over and over again. And so I think
It will continue
to happen
Yes.
because, they say history repeats itself.
Yes.
And so one of the things, or one of the key mantras I've been trying to live into right now is, look at those trends, analyze kind of where we are on those trends, and realize where we have to be. So a good example is like, you're driving or you're in a bus and you miss your turn. When we're younger, we have this, we freak out, right?
100%.
Oh my God, we freak out, whatever. And as you get older, you just realize it's okay. You put the indicator on, we're going to come back around. Then guess what?
Next one
another 15 minutes or whatever, it'll come back around. I think that's a good metaphor for where we are in 2024, because I believe 2024, it's only going to be up. There may be a little bit of blips and down and sideways, but nothing like we've seen over the last 18 months.
Yeah, because people will hold on to the past and they'll hold on to the fear, or if they have been burned or whatever their story is.
Yeah.
But no matter your story, you still have to continue driving forward, because that's the whole goal in life, to expand your network, your horizon, your whatever that is, right? So if you're in the real estate market or just generally, like you will thank yourself later, a decade later, said, listen, I made a move when everybody was maybe fearing, or when they had doubts and stuff like that, as you have touched on the interest rates. And we all know interest rates go down, the machine starts to roll,
comes back,
consumer confidence starts rolling and stuff like that. And it's always the same story.
Yeah.
When the times are brilliant,
yeah,
as we have seen, like, in the past few years, a few years ago, times were brilliant.
Yes.
People had fear.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy, multiple offers, this and that, prices are going up, this and that. I don't want to do it. The best times ever. Now it's a halt.
Yeah.
Right? The prices, which I think it's a blessings in the sky, because we need that market to kind of cool off, to stabilize. That's I think the proper word for it, to stabilize. Now you can get into. Now people are fearing. Oh, why is it stable now? Like, listen, you will never find the perfect time, right?
Yeah. I think, look, if I can offer any bit of, I don't want to say advice, but just like a bit of feedback, is I'm going through this myself. So now what I say is, look, we're in real estate, we're in other things, but real estate's what we do. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what feeds our family. Okay. So we live and breathe real estate. However, the one thing I'm coaching and talking to people that I meet now is, try to turn off all the noise. And we'll talk about that. There's so much noise in every business. You're always every ad you see, every person, any realtor you speak to, or for the most part, mortgage guys, anyone that is in this business is going to tell you that, oh, it's the best thing. It's, we're here to tell you it can be great. And it can also be, very dangerous if you're not using the right strategies or using the right advice. Yes. What do I mean by that? I'm like, everyone I talk to now is, there's never a wrong time for real estate as long as you have the right strategy.
Yes.
So, you may hear of people, water cooler talk back in the day. Remember, it used to be hockey, then it used to be, weather. Those are the
100%.
And then it became
small talk and this and that, and now it's real estate. Yeah.
But I will encourage you to understand that, nobody ever talks about when they lose. They just love talking about when they win. But nobody ever wins or loses if they don't sell and complete that transaction. It's just all paper gains.
Yes.
Right? So into 2024, if you've been on the sideline and you've been shut out like a lot of people because rates were too high and your affordability is down, now is the time. Okay? If you've been on the sidelines thinking, I want to invest, but I'm not sure where things are going, now is the time. And thirdly, if you've been on the sidelines thinking to sell, now is also the time to start that conversation, because there's renewed interest in the marketplace. And secondly, I think that you're going to be further ahead from everybody else right now, because people are still in the getting up in the morning. They're still in that, we're not quite sure yet.
They're trying to they're trying to find the rhythm, right?
What's going to happen in spring? And by then, it's too late. It's too late.
Yes.
So that's really what I think, I'd like to talk about, we're talking about right now, and telling those that are watching right now to be like, now's a great time. Yeah.
Listen, have you ever played the game of Monopoly?
Who has?
Obvious.
I think that's what got me into this business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So have you noticed, like, when you put that board on the table, right?
Yeah.
And you throw your dice and you go on these blocks or lots, and you miss these opportunities because you didn't buy, and you just continue to roll, and it's too expensive to buy that particular one or whatever the case is. So it's like, as you're playing that, you're strategically trying to have to win the game, to have a strategy, whatever the case is, right? But you find in a very short period of time, if you don't acquire these lots, if you don't put these houses on these lots or even hotels on these lots, what happens, you start burning through cash. The more you play, the faster you're going to be out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that like, it is obviously not the same as Monopoly, but it's very close, right? So, like a friend of mine, he told me, look, like 10 years ago, I was short 100 grand. 5 years ago, I was short 500 grand. And today I'm short $1 million for the same product, more or less, right?
Yeah.
So doesn't matter what happens. I think it is definitely smart, or having that intelligent game. Real estate is a long-term investment.
Yes.
If you know exactly what you're doing, it requires some other parts to make gains in a short period of time. It's like renovation, forcing some equity and all of that stuff, and making more dwellings into one unit, and we can talk about that as well. But if you're just a traditional person, 9 to 5, you should definitely buy a property. 100%.
You just touched on so many things that have been fantastic. And one of the key things for me, that takeaway there is, look, you don't need to know everything. And that's the one thing I think most people get overwhelmed and burdensome because they feel like, I just don't know enough. You know what? This is a business where all you have to do is partner and reach out for the right resources.
Yes.
And all of these, I call it keys to the kingdom, become available to you. They become available to you because that's what we do full time.
Yeah.
Right? And you may be thinking, okay, we don't have enough down payment. Great. Let's see how we can help you acquire the down payment. Oh, I don't have the skill set. Great. We can dial you into our network that has everything from trades to you name it that can help you get there. So people have already done it before you, and we want to help. That's why we're here. The other thing you talked about, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but you actually gave a great example of what inflation is. I know a lot of people hear about inflation. What does that mean? The average person isn't sure. All they know is, the cost of their coffee and sandwich has doubled from today from what it was maybe even a year ago.
Yeah.
And that analogy of your friend with 100,000, 500 million, that sums it up perfectly. And that is what inflation does. And that's not, the truth is, that's not going to go anywhere. It's been around since the beginning of time. It's not going anywhere. That's why real estate traditionally has been one of the best asset classes for anybody, not just the wealthy, not just the poor, but anybody, to stave off and be ahead of inflation. And that's why we kind of keep talking about it.
100%. And one of the major reasons why I like this particular accommodation of real estate is because you could use it, you can rent it, it's tangible, you hold on to it, right?
Yes.
You pay for bricks and mortar and a window and a door and a room, like it's yours, right?
Yeah.
Versus some other assets, which I'm not saying good or bad or whatever the case is. If you have gold on paper, you have a piece of paper. You cannot live in that piece of paper.
Sure.
You might have it, but you still need shelter.
Yes.
Like, there's what I'm saying? So,
Sure.
So real estate might not be the most explosive in terms of returns, like some other ones, like maybe Bitcoin or gold or
Sure.
or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But it's definitely stable over long period of time.
And that's just it. Everybody has a different risk tolerance.
Yes.
Everybody's at a different stage in their investment strategy in life. And so, real estate tends to be one of the first plays, simply because we know that if you just buy a house to live there's opportunities, and you just hold on to it. It'll grow. As long as you're taking care of it, it'll grow.
Yeah.
Whereas most other investments, I'm sure they'll grow as well. Some people have a greater skill set at that, but you have to dedicate your time. And for most people who have a traditional job and are just trying to get through their week and trying to maintain a life with their family,
Sure.
Or start a family, those things can take up a lot of time. Yeah.
No, they can, absolutely. So let's summarize this. We believe that 2024, we will see some decreases when it comes to interest rates.
Yeah.
We will see that consumers' confidence will return. To what capacity, we don't know, but it will return. And I myself believe that these opportunities that are peaking now will not be available in the coming years.
I think that's great. And if I could summarize a couple of key points here. So my key takeaways for 2024 is, look, we're all coming out of what was, let's be honest, a pretty brutal 6 quarters. Let's call it 18 months. Yeah. It's pretty brutal for everybody. Nobody's going to say they did great. I mean, some may have, but 90% of people out there are going to say it was a brutal time. So myself, most experts in the industry are going to also say that, hey, we think the bottom is in. So, when we talk about investing, if ever you were thinking, hey, you know what, can it go any lower? Listen, that's a gamble I'm not willing to take. I think we're here. I think, there's way more upward momentum than downward at this point. We're in an election year in the United States, and no matter what, we live in Canada, but guess what? Our side of the world is, and the world for that matter, is governed heavily by what happens with the Fed in the U.S., elections, and the SEC in the U.S. And so we're tied to that. So it's going to be a big year for the U.S. They are still the economic giant and powerhouse, 100%. Right?
And we're leaning on them, right?
And you know what? We want them to succeed because that's our success as well,
yes.
Right? And so what do I see happening there? You talked about rate cuts. We don't know exactly when. The prediction is that, come March, April, there'll be maybe something leaning into Q2, but for sure by the second half of this year, we'll probably have dropped at least a quarter, if not a half. And if we're lucky by the end of the year, maybe even 3/4, okay? So we've got rate cuts coming, okay? The second thing is I mentioned election year. So there's going to be money and ad spend and all the...
Activity, 100%.
Listen,
100%.
Anytime... I call it the soapbox moment.
Yes.
Anytime we get up on the soapbox, you're not going to talk about negative. You're going to talk about how good things are going to get. Everybody gets excited. So there's going to be...
Everybody wants to fix it before the election.
And the third thing that's exclusive to the GTA and the Toronto, or let's even call the Greater Toronto Horseshoe area, okay, the Southern Ontario, is the fact that we are severely underserviced for capacity and for quantity of units across the board. Yeah. From condos to houses to you name it. Once this light flicks on again and the demand is there, we do not have the capacity to build. Now, we've got the developers, we have the builders, we know some of the greatest ones. They just don't have the reach to complete what the federal and provincial government wants. I mean, you can touch on some of the numbers of what's coming through, right?
100%. We should have 150 to 180,000 units per year, and with all the engines on, we're not even hitting 100,000.
Exactly.
Right. So that's like they're hitting maybe 55%, 58% of the capacity, with everything being turned on 100%.
Yes.
Right. So how that will pan out in the next decade, I think that there will be always shortage when it comes to real estate, no matter what, especially when the rates start to come down.
Yeah.
Listen, interest will rise again.
Yeah.
People will have the confidence to invest, and the shortage of these units being low. And I don't think with the capacity, like I said, that is already there, I'm telling you, they cannot double in these units. The workforce, the man, it's not just there.
It's not that the want is not there. The will and the want,
yes,
the resources are there. The problem is the physical manpower,
Physically,
labor
it's not
power.
possible.
We just don't have the ability to bring the skilled labor in to do the work. That's the bottom line.
100%.
And the one big thing that I want to mention is, we work with everybody from, new first-time home buyers and new to the country to seasoned investors with big portfolios. And what you have to remember is this time right now is specifically important for new owners and people that haven't got into real estate before, because a lot of these market shifts, when they become favorable, those that are investors and have the ability to be creative are going to basically benefit by scooping up multiple properties.
100%.
That'll always be the challenge for someone who's looking to just get in. Right now, you're ahead of that curve. And that's what we really want to get you in. Look, I mean, I also believe that we're in 2024, you probably have about a 3-year run. Right now, 2 to 3 year, where things are going to go extremely good. I think by 28, 29, there's going to be a lot of federal, provincial money coming in to help stimulate, growth of jobs, especially in the construction industry, right?
Yeah,
so
but
by then, maybe the end of the decade. Exactly.
It'll take time, but until then,
Right now is the time.
what will you do? You're not going to wait, turn the lights off and wait for the next decade or something like that, right? So anyways, thank you so much.
Hey, always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Always.
The lights are still on.
Yes.
In this
we're
beautiful
here.
place. And we're here. Please subscribe to our channel so we can provide you with beautiful backdrops like this. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much.